Okay, what's going on, guys? This is Strix here. Today I want to document for you guys my experiences with the AI autopilot immediately after this latest update has been implemented. So as you can see, I'm in Clarelem in my Vindicator, running some encounter missions again. This is the same setup that I've used in the past. I don't know if I've actually shown this setup before, but I'll give you a brief rundown of the fitting. We have snubs in, two reppers, because this is what is needed to maintain cycles, or to maintain, yeah, HP to properly tank. One red hardener on two of the DPS modules and a tracking computer, just for that extra tracking speed. And of course we have NOS and webs in there as well. So very basic fit, nothing too fancy, nothing too special. Now, what I wanted to show you guys was the patch notes so that I could discuss what has changed and why it has become necessary for me to make this update video. So, as you can see, this is the patch that just went live, 8 o'clock UTC, so that's, that was about 30 minutes ago. Servers, like, literally just opened up, and so we can see here that they've made some adjustments to the AI core. So what they did, you can now set the default distance for warping into cosmic anomalies on the AI page. And this is true. If we go over to the fitting, and we go over to the core, go over here, and to the settings, you can see that we now have cosmic anomaly default warp distance, and the same is true for regular anom. So you can set that. Obviously that's up to 100, so that's as far as you can warp normally. I have not gotten the chance to test this yet because I'm flying my Vindicator, but I'm currently hauling a fit out for range so that my main can use that, and we can see how that works on an Apoc. So obviously that was one of the major issues, was that ranged Apocs weren't getting love, or range ships in general weren't getting the love they needed because the AI was just warping everyone to 0 by default. And so, if your fit wasn't designed to survive at 0, then you were just going to get stomped on and you were going to die. So the other change they made, the intelligent nanocore will keep most modules that don't require locking onto targets activated during targeting and target switching. So in the past, all of these actions were tied together in a bundle. When the AI went through what I'm going to call a logic cycle, just the point at which the AI makes decisions on what modules to activate. So that could be when a new wave spawns, or when you switch targets, for example, like when it kills a ship and it moves on to the next target. That's when it makes decisions on what modules to activate. Literally, all it would do is take every module that can be brought online, so your guns, your mid and low slots, your resist and your reps and your DPS modules, even those with cooldowns, like we've seen, your tracking computers and your DPS modules, literally just all of it, the whole bunch, and would just activate all of them in one go. And this was a problem because, it would, stuff like your guns and your mid slots and stuff would cycle off during that target switch, and the same would happen for your reps and whatnot. So they've changed that, and they've recognized, okay, reps and resists are something that needs to stay running. Whether or not your guns are. And so let's see, this will include shield reppers, armor reppers, extenders, plates, reactive, and I'm assuming red modules as well, cap batteries, and enhancement modules for weapons. So none of those things are... So basically high slots and mid slots have a distinction now with low slots as far as when they are actually activated. Okay, and let's see, I think there's one more thing they fixed down here. Yeah, fix the issue where there was a small chance where the intelligent nanocore would not properly finish the conversation after completing encounter missions. So yeah, this was a minor issue where sometimes it would just claim the reward and then it would just stop. It wouldn't really move on to the next one. Also, if my voice sounds a little bit raspy, I apologize. It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm trying to be quiet, but it's also quite late for me, so it's a bit hard for me to sort of talk in this voice, and I'm also a tiny little bit congested. So yeah, I apologize for that. But yeah, so it would just stop and it wouldn't really properly pick up the next mission, and you would have to turn off the AI and turn it back on to get it going again. So hopefully that's actually been fixed. So now let's take a look at what's actually going on here. And so as you'll see, my reps and my resists are currently not running, but they just turned on because I had taken a tiny little bit of armor damage. So let's see what happens when I'm full armor. Is it going to keep them running? Because I haven't really been able to notice what exactly the new logic for these things is. I just posted in Corp Chat a while ago what my initial thoughts were, and I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't seen enough to make a conclusive decision on what's going on here. So we'll just run a few of these missions and sort of just try to get an idea of what's going on here with the mid slots. And then I'll also be hauling a fit out for my Apoc in the meantime, and then we'll switch over there and see if that can be made to be viable as well. So as you can see, there is a point where it just no longer will cycle the reps and the resists, and that appears to be at the beginning of a wave here. Once it, oh yeah, so as you can see, the other big change is the AI is making use of the lock all feature again. So in the past, I had to set automatic lock back and auto attack and all this shit that you generally shouldn't be using. I had to enable all of that to sort of help out here. But thankfully, it seems like that won't be required anymore, since the AI is making use of the lock all button now, and so it's not taking ages for things to actually kick in. So that was one of the major issues as well, is that since, you know, it was only ever going to activate your armor reppers at the same time that it would activate your guns, you had to wait through that whole cycle, or you just had to manually hit the lock all button yourself. But you know, for me, many times I would often end up like taking quite a bit of armor damage, even up to half armor, third armor. Even sometimes I would find myself in hull, um, just because of its tendency to mismanage modules. So where things are at right now, this looks to be in pretty good shape. Again, I can't say for sure, but if the previous build was stable, provided I was, you know, using that lock all button myself, if that was stable and I was able to get through these encounters no biggie, then this should be an improvement over that, and we should see now, especially with the target switching and the way that it watches for the rat's range before it activates the webs, as you saw with that arbitrator we just killed. Given all these things, it should finally be viable. So let's see what's going to happen here with the Harbinger. It does eventually get around to activating the webs, and we should shortly see here guns being switched over to target the Harby once it thinks that it's slow enough. So yeah, the same logic is being used as was before. Eventually it should switch all of them over. For now it's just 2. All of them should switch over here shortly. So you can see the 3 stacks of guns that are on the Apoc are currently flickering and locking back onto the Apoc, but the 1 cycle that's on the Harby is remaining on the Harby. And I don't know why it's refusing to switch over. Usually what happens here is that it eventually sees, oh, okay, hey, the Harby is slow enough. There it goes, finally. Finally switches them all over. So that's very interesting. So the Apoc got out to 36 before that happened. That might be something. It might have to do with the range. Let's see. Let's do some math. So 36 is the number we're looking for, so that would be 9.9. We'll do plus, in parentheses, 13.85 times 2. And that gives us 37.6. So, I don't know, maybe that's range-based. It eventually realized, hey, this thing's about to be out of my range, and that's when it switches. I don't know. But it was orbiting the Harbinger as if that was its primary target, and it wasn't switching over to it, so a bit suboptimal there. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, so I'll just leave this running for a few waves here in the background so that you guys can get a feel for how these new changes affect brawling, and then in the background here I'll be working on getting my Apoc fit together, and then I will show you guys encounters with the Apoc, and then I'll see if I can jump the thing back home within a decent time frame, and also demonstrate anomalies to see if any change was made there. Since, you know, in our most recent tests we saw that yes, it had fixed the issue where I couldn't warp whatsoever, but it was taking me to the system spawned anomalies, which are level 7, you know, instead of the level 9 ones. So hopefully that has been resolved as well, because that was something that was originally working properly in my very, very, very first test. In the first video I did, when I was just looking over all of this new stuff, when I threw together the range fit Apoc that I had and just took that out, it was warping me to level 9s. Despite the level 7s that were in the system, so it was able to find the highest level out of the bunch there. So, I mean, there was some level of selection going on back then, right? Like even now, the AI knows not to warp you to specials, because there was an FRP that was the first anomaly in the system. If we look at the top of the list, I have my list sorted alphabetically, so the FRP was at the top of the list, and it knew not to warp to that. It was able to pick out a normal anomaly from that bunch, and it was able to pick out the 9s rather than the 7s back then, and then that was changed, and that no longer worked. So I don't know why that happened, but we'll also check that, and I'll give you guys my my thoughts there. So yeah, I'll shut up now. I'll let some of these waves play themselves out, and then I will I will get back to you guys once I have my Apoc together.
Autopilot undocking.
Don't forget to clean up the battlefield when you're done.
Warp drive active.
Okay, so what I'll note so far is that, yes, I've already seen enough of an improvement in my Vindy to say that brawling is completely viable if you can keep your HP up, and end up cap stable.
Warp drive active.
Um, so for me, I run these two NOS, and I usually am able to hover around 60 to 70% cap with no issues. I don't know if you guys know this, but for whatever reason, as your cap drops down further, the recovery rate sort of evens out, and you get a bit better stability. So that explains why you're able to see me drop down to around 60% or something like that, and then suddenly end up stable. Whereas, like, you know, being stable at 80% or 90% or 100%, or like, or, any other value at that. And so part of that has to do with the NOS mechanics, In a non-blood raider ship, you can't NOS someone and actually get cap out of it if their cap is lower than yours. Um,
Warp drive active.
so I don't know. It could be just a tiny little bit of insight behind the scenes, that we see here, like, oh hey, the rats all have 65% cap or something by default. But then you'd only be able to NOS them once, right? And then your NOSes would stop working. So who knows why that's actually the case? I honestly have no idea. But really, as long as there's some point where you eventually become stable, it doesn't matter if, like, you're dropping in the beginning at some constant rate. As long as you're able to keep your reps up like I am here, and your NOS just continuously hovers around some particular value, a lot of that balance there is you need to kill ships fast enough so that you then switch onto a new ship which has a fresh supply of cap for you to NOS. That's one of the considerations. So as long as you're able to do that, and as long as your reps are strong enough so that you're actually able to maintain your HP, then you'll have no issues at all with a brawling setup.
Active.
Anything like this, or again, like I mentioned before, even if you're able to somehow save yourself a rep and either get more resists in there or maybe even more DPS, you know? You never know. Um, Definitely play around with it and find out what's optimal for you. But so far, this appears to be completely viable. So that's a breath of fresh air, definitely. Um, I have my Apoc fit on the way. I just had to haul over a few modules since I already had most of it on hand there in Clarilim. So I will pause the recording and I'll get back to you guys when my ship actually reaches my destination here. We're back. As you can see, I have switched my Apoc fitting to something that is more suitable for range. Now this isn't perfect by any means, because I was dumb and I forgot to actually bring that last heatsink with me. I don't know why, but I must have miscounted what I already had on me or something like that. But for now, this is what we're running with. We have the beams, as you can see. I have all target painters in the mids just to get the most out of that as I possibly can. And then I have one repper and one hardener as well. Just for, just for covering my ass. Um, and just making it something that is purely, truly able to run on its own, even if it does sustain some hits. Now what I've had to do is bring some of these with me. So we're going to fuel this thing up just a little bit. And then we are also going to, what's happened here? Sorry. On my alt, it has gotten stuck again. That appears to be because I had a mission that was already in progress, but, I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to set this to encounters, max distance 0, but we're going to change the warp in distance to 80. And activate that to confirm it. Now, I'm setting it to 80 because that is the optimal range of my turrets right now. And I don't have more range because of my GU configuration. Okay, I'm gonna have to manually get this thing going.
Autopilot engaged.
What the hell?
Destination reached.
That's weird. Okay, we'll just abandon this mission. Alright. Can I claim new ones? I can. Alright. So we're going to turn this off. Sorry about that. So anyways, this has to do with my GU configuration. So I have the tracking GU in again. And I just want to see if this is something that'll work out of the gate for me. And then for you guys, I will take both this tracking GU and this target painter GU off so that I can show you guys whether it's viable with that um, off as well. And then another thing I will try to do is to manually cycle my heat sinks.
Undocking.
So that we'll see if it's somewhat able to keep that going. Okay, so first order of business is to get the guns stacked properly. What am I doing? Why am I trying to stack my armor repper here? Okay. So we're probably looking at something like this, maybe? With siege mode there. Something like that. That looks pretty solid. Or hell, we can get both buttons. we can have the AI button slide nicely into there. Okay. So here we're completely clean, right? Oh, we're not. We have some in progress. Let's see if it'll just
I'll take care of turrets and shields.
pick those up.
Autopilot
Okay, so it
engaged.
picked up new missions,
Destination reached.
and yeah, it's stuck here as well. What is going on here? Did it just refresh for me? No, I still have the option of refreshing. Hmm. This is very weird. Okay, I have like a pretty full set of encounters here that it needs to start me on. I don't want to abandon all of those.
Leave it to me.
Autopilot
I'll take care of
engaged.
turrets and shields.
Destination reached.
Okay, so this isn't something to do with the auto warp range. This is something else because I'm having the same issue on my alt account right now. So I will try to get this resolved and I'll be back with you guys in a moment. Okay, we are back. Whatever has happened, I've managed to get it resolved. I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But as you can see, here we are in warp. And hopefully we land at range as expected. I set my range to 80, so let's see what happens. Look at that. We stop out 79. Right on point. Okay. So first look at our build here. Let's see how this thing performs. Now in the meantime, I will also have my other tune visible. Um, okay, so that's something I wanted to take a peek at too, was whether or not siege mode was going to be functional. And it does not look like it takes advantage of siege mode still. So that's unfortunate. Oh, I was gonna try to cycle my heat sinks manually. Whatever. That'll have to be for another time. Now, it wants to auto-orbit me much closer than I would like. And I'm hoping that I can change that. Um,
A minor scratch. No big deal.
maybe that'll help. I don't know. It seems like the AI has a range predetermined that it sets for your orbit. Oh, there we go. 81. Okay. So we can get it to orbit at a proper range apart from what the AI chooses. So that's good to know. So I've just set it to, around 80. Again, as an extra little failsafe in case things end up getting closer. Now, it's probably not a good idea to be moving at all in this ship. But if it's going to have me orbit anyways, by default, then I'd rather have it orbiting out where I can actually hit. And so it'll make that adjustment on its own over time. Okay, that took a little while to kick in. See, so the AI again just chooses 43 as its de facto go-to range. So that's just gonna have to be what it is for now. So obviously, it's a shame to see that siege mode has not been working, but with my tracking computers, it's possible that I might be able to hit those small ships that burn directly at me. So since we're on a battleship here, we'll just turn siege mode on and see what happens. Now, the other thing is that siege mode prevents you from warping. So if you were to just leave siege mode on, it would probably break the AI anyways. So it's not like you would just be able to turn siege mode on and just call it a day, right? So the only solution right now is to have the AI auto manage your siege mode for you. Um, so we'll just have to see if they eventually implement that. But for now, no such luck.
Turret control is nothing special. I know it like the back of my hand.
Okay, moment of truth. We have the magnate at 84. No, we missed terribly. Oh, what a shame.
Detected.
What a shame.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Fire away.
We're under attack. We're under attack.
Okay, so ships are a bit closer this time.
Under attack.
Now, a lot of this hinges on the time to kill for whatever first ship you shoot. So usually that'll be something bigger, like a battle cruiser in this case, or a battleship. It even looks like it wants to shoot at that Apoc next. So we might have some issues here where a ship eventually gets under our tracking, just because of poor target choice by the AI. And yeah, that might just have to be something that we have to deal with. Okay, there's a destroyer now in our range, and we'll have to see if that eventually becomes an issue for us.
Turret control is nothing special. I know it like the back of my hand.
Okay, we've switched over to shooting at this coercer when it's in 5 kilometer range, and obviously there is not a chance in the world that we hit this thing right now. And so we are going to need a miracle, and we are going to need it fast because we are warp disrupted. I'm not running stabs. Everybody knows I don't run stabs because I'm not a bitch. Um so yeah, we either hit that goddamn destroyer when this tracking creator comes up, or we die and look like an idiot. We have everything set to go to run on this thing. Okay. Tracking computer comes online and it looks like we're hitting.
No big
Oh, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. We might be in some serious trouble here. We might be in some very serious trouble. Um, um, I mean, if so, it's not the end of the world. Like, I could probably bring a ship from home out here just to kill this destroyer before I die. Or, fleet up with my with my Vindicator. The AI still wants to warp me, or to orbit me at its chosen range. But we got a hit in. Now we only need one more. Anyways, yeah, due to obscenely poor target management
field when you're done.
on the AI's part, um, it does not look like this is viable for range ships still. Now, if it purely went down the list of your PvE ships, yeah, you could probably sort your list by distance, and then, the AI would shoot whatever the closest thing is once everything's locked.
Fire away.
And then after that ship dies, then yeah, nothing would probably be close enough at that point to create a significant issue. But
Warning.
I shot a battle cruiser and then a battleship,
Warning.
and by the time I even came around to shooting this destroyer, it was already on top of me. So, big no go. Big no no. Do not do this. Do not AFK in this now that they've added this warp and distance, and expect to be okay. Because right now we're quite literally, we're not okay. So, that's a shame. Was really hoping to have some good news for you ranged guys out there, but it looks like today is still not the day for that. And honestly, I don't know if that's something that's going to be improved upon. I don't know, because that requires changing how the AI manages targets, and that's quite a bit of code to implement that. So, yeah, who's to say?
Each one as if it was the last.
Okay, I need to try to have you burning out again, please. No, it just shoots me right back into the orbit. Come on. Go work for me. Oh god. Yeah, we're gonna be in trouble here. I need to warp my Vindicator in as soon as I'm done with this encounter here. Wow. Wow. What a shit show I found myself in here, huh? Are we done? What a miracle. We're done. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna warp to here. We're going to... Oh, great. I need to... We're just gonna do this for the time being, please.
The back of my hand.
Please. There we go. Okay. And, alright. And then once we do this, we will then be able to warp to the anomaly at the proper range. Okay. Oh my god. I need to disable the AI here. It should keep my modules going. And I need to be aligned. Oh, it didn't. It didn't actually. Okay, and I have no NOS whatsoever. Thank God my Vindy landed where it needed to. Okay, okay. Alright, just dead approach to get this thing out of here ASAP. Alright, and get me the hell out. Jesus Christ. That was a nightmare.
Warp drive active.
Well, let's get out of here and let's give some closing thoughts. So, again, if you're a range ship, don't do this. Don't do this just yet, because, oh my god, you will die. You will die at some point. If not immediately, where you can still react, then at some point, there's just going to be one of those times where a ship shoots at all of the wrong things, and then all it takes is for one ship to get under you. And we even saw there that the AI was like, oh hey, here's a ship that's close to me. Why is this thing close to me? I'm gonna primary the fuck out of it. So the target painters went onto it, and then it eventually started shooting, and then it started orbiting at that 43-kilometer range. Which will allow the rats to eventually catch up to you, and yeah, I mean, within half an hour you'll be dead. So don't AFK and fly at range. Yes, this is a nice feature, but um, there's still a ways to go, is what I'm trying to say. There's still a ways to go. So, people are sounding the horns and blowing their whistles with all of this. That's the reason we've seen so many adjustments to the AI core out of the gate. And so, if people toot their horns a bit more, run into the same issue, then maybe NetCheese will revisit this again next week and be like, okay, that first change wasn't enough. We're also going to implement this. The thing is, I don't know how they would do it. All they would have to do, honestly, if they want something that's logical, you could have a couple of options. You could have an ascending and descending option and distance or size, that being ship class, or what the AI chooses to target, right? So you could have ascending distance, which means, whatever's closest to you will be chosen to be shot at first. It will prioritize things that are closer to you and then work its way up in distance. I mean, hell, you could even have, I don't know, I was gonna say like an alphabetical thing, but that doesn't really provide any real utility. So yeah, just those two would honestly suffice. So you could even shoot at the things that are far away from you first,
Docking request
right?
accepted.
And then work your way up to the closest ships. And so that would be super handy for brawlers, right? Because we've seen multiple times now when I'm brawling, if I don't have auto orbit set to help me at least do something on the games and to get me closer and eventually start hitting, then ships just get out of my range. You know, whichever ones fly ranged weapons. The ships do vary that up. Some will fly beams, some will fly pulses, etc. And that's the case for all of the rats, right? So yeah, so the ones that fly long-range weapons have an auto orbit that is set for range, and so they'll just slow burn out to range. So for brawler ships, yeah, that would be a great use case, is to have it focus on the furthest ships first, and then work its way to whatever's close. But for the range ships, we absolutely need a function to have it focus fire whatever is closest to you. And then if you want to get real nitpicky, if you're someone that's like already stable either way and you're trying to min-max your ticks, then that ship class option might be something for you to try, you know? And it could also work for the range ships as well. You could have the range ships generally blap all of the frigates and then work its way up to destroyers and to cruisers and etc. Or if you're brawling and you're tanking a shit ton of DPS, then obviously the same thing in reverse. You'd want to blab off the battleships, then the battle cruisers, and etc., so that you take as minimal DPS as possible. So I think both of those are viable things they can implement. NetEase already accounts for range in its considerations. We've seen that with my webs, it will eventually find a ship within range and it will put the webs on that ship. Now, I don't know if this is deterministic in its approach, where it attempts to put the webs on everything, and the first thing that it succeeds for is what it targets with the webs. I don't know if it's something like that, or if it's genuinely looking at ship ranges and saying, okay, here's a ship that's in range, we'll do that. But even then, even there, it could still work. because you could just do something, you could just have your search algorithm, this is like even my bum ass, right? I'm not a professional. I have some coding knowledge, right? Like I've worked on projects. I have a minimal level of programming experience. And I could tell you with 100% certainty that they could implement something as simple as this, where it loops through all the ships that are on grid, which it already does when it targets new ships or when it, is choosing what to fire at, or like I described, when it eventually finds a webbable target, and it could find the closest ship that way, right? Like what you could do is, okay, ship 1 is at 36 kilometers. That's the only ship we've considered, and so therefore that's the closest ship at this current time. So you set closest distance to 36 kilometers, and you move to the next item in the loop, right? Hey, the next ship is at 20 kilometers. 20 is less than 36. Set the closest distance to 20, right? And etc. Right? Let's say the next ship is out at 50 kilometers. Well, 50 kilometers is not less than 20. So 20 remains the closest distance. And then you just loop through the whole distance. Or, sorry, fuck. I'm just so tired. I'm slurring my words now. You loop through the whole list of ships on grid. And then by the end of that loop, you've determined with certainty, deterministically, without having to use intelligence or OCR or anything like that, to read the screen and read exactly the values of the ship's distances and track them, right? You just loop through what's on grid. Then by the end of that loop, you know which ship is the closest one to you. So, yeah, these are things that they absolutely could implement, right? So those are my closing thoughts. We're definitely making steps in the right direction, or getting this feature is something that's actually usable. We're just not quite there yet. So please, guys, if this is something that concerns you, or if you just want to help get this out there and just help possibly get this on the devs radar, then I would totally appreciate it if you share this video around to whoever you think might be appropriate. Obviously I upload all of my videos unlisted for OPSEC reasons. I don't, like, literally everything I do is just for your eyes only for the time being. Whether I don't want any secrets being leaked. I don't want any sensitive information with what I'm doing with my tunes here being leaked. Stuff like that. But yeah, let's work together. And let's hopefully make some more positive changes here. So any feedback on any of this is definitely appreciated. Like, even if this video needs some changes before we can get to that step of sharing it publicly and blowing the whistle for the devs. Other than that, though, I appreciate you guys for watching these. I know I'm still working on the quality. I'm still working on getting that time down. I mean, we've been recording for an hour here again. So if you stuck through here to the end, you're an absolute legend. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.